What's happening, Trend Pop fam? Get ready for a rapid-fire rundown of the news that matters most. We're kicking things off with the people of Malawi heading to the polls in a high-stakes election to choose their next president, lawmakers, and local representatives amid tough economic times. Will President Lazarus Chakwera secure another term, or will challengers like former President Mutharika or Joyce Banda make a comeback? Next up, we're tracking a story that's impacting millions of Americans as temperatures are soaring well above normal, hitting the 90s in some areas, even as fall is just around the corner. We'll break down who's feeling the heat and what this unusual weather means for the season ahead. Then, hold onto your hats, because Donald Trump has just filed a colossal $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times and 4 of its journalists. We're dissecting the details of this massive legal challenge and what it could mean for the future of political reporting and media accountability. And finally, brace yourselves for severe weather as more than 20 tornadoes were reported tearing through the Dakotas on Sunday, leaving a trail of destruction. We've got the latest on this powerful storm system and the recovery efforts underway. Stay locked on Trend Pop for all the details, make sure you're subscribed and the bell is on. Malawi's crucial election day. Malawians are casting their votes today in a pivotal election to determine their next president, National Assembly members, and local government officials. This vote comes at a critical juncture for one of the world's least developed nations, grappling with severe economic challenges including soaring inflation, a cost-of-living crisis, and critical fuel shortages. Voters are faced with a stark choice: re-elect President Lazarus Chakwera for a second term or opt for a new leader to steer the country through its current turmoil. The field includes 16 other presidential hopefuls, notably 85-year-old former President Mutharika, who is seen as President Chakwera's strongest challenger. Also running is former President Joyce Banda. However, analysts largely view this election as a direct contest between Chakwera of the Malawi Congress Party and Mutharika of the Democratic Progressive Party. The nation is still recovering from the unprecedented 2019 election, which was nullified by the courts due to widespread irregularities, leading to a redo in 2020 where Chakwera ultimately won. This election carries immense weight, with outcomes directly affecting the daily lives of Malawians, many of whom rely on agriculture and are struggling with food insecurity exacerbated by recent cyclones and drought. The upcoming days will be tense as results are expected within 7 days, with a potential runoff within 30 days if no candidate secures over 50% of the vote. This election could reshape Malawi's future. But before we dive deeper into political landscapes, get ready for whether that's heating up in America and a legal showdown that's making headlines. Americans feeling the heat as fall approaches. Millions of Americans are experiencing significantly above normal temperatures as the calendar edges closer to fall, with some regions already seeing highs in the 90s. This widespread warmth is a stark contrast to typical seasonal patterns and is raising questions about the lingering effects of summer heat and what it could mean for the upcoming autumn months. As this unusual heat wave grips the nation, communities are advised to take precautions, stay hydrated, and be mindful of vulnerable populations. The extended period of high temperatures could also impact agriculture, energy consumption, and outdoor activities across various states. Experts are monitoring the situation closely to understand the contributing factors and predict the duration of this unseasonable warmth. But while some are sweating it out, others are facing a different kind of heat, the courtroom kind. Get ready for a massive legal battle brewing in New York. Trump's $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. President Donald Trump has officially launched a monumental $15 billion defamation lawsuit targeting the New York Times and 4 of its journalists. Filed in a U.S. district court in Florida, the lawsuit zeroes in on specific articles and a book published by the Times in the lead-up to the 2024 election, which Trump claims are part of a decades-long pattern by the New York Times of intentional and malicious defamation against President Trump. The legal filing asserts that the defendants published these statements negligently, with knowledge of the falsity of the statements, and/or with reckless disregard of their truth or falsity. Trump himself took to Truth Social to announce the suit, accusing the Times of being a virtual mouthpiece for the radical left Democrat Party and of consistently lying about him. This isn't the first time Trump has pursued legal action against a major media outlet. He previously filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch over a story concerning his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The New York Times has yet to issue a public comment on the lawsuit. This legal drama is certainly heating up the news cycle, but our attention now turns to the skies, where a different kind of force has been unleashed. Tornado outbreak devastates the Dakotas. An intense storm system unleashed a barrage of twisters across the Dakotas on Sunday, with reports confirming more than 20 tornadoes touching down. This significant outbreak has caused widespread damage and disruption across the region, leaving communities to assess the aftermath and begin recovery efforts. Emergency services are on the ground, working to provide aid and clear debris, while residents are urged to stay informed about weather updates and safety precautions. The sheer number of reported tornadoes highlights the severity of the weather event, underscoring the power of nature and the importance of preparedness in tornado-prone areas. Alongside this severe weather, millions in the Midwest are also bracing for continued above-average temperatures throughout the week. What a wild weather week. But we're not done yet. Stick around for a quick recap of today's biggest stories and make sure you're subscribed. And that's a wrap on today's top stories. We saw Malawians head to the polls for crucial elections, millions of Americans sweltering under unseasonable heat, Donald Trump filing a massive $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times, and over 20 tornadoes tearing through the Dakotas. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Trend Pop for all your trending news, hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, leave a comment below telling us what you thought, and follow us on all our social media channels.